The roots of three modern states, Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus, can be found in a medieval civilization in Eastern Europe known as the Kyivan Rus. Kyivan Rus was a product of the Viking Age, when Scandinavian raiders and traders dominated the northern seas and ransacked Europe's coasts. Often referred to as Norse or Northmen, in the east the Vikings were known as the Rus, taking over trade routes that linked the Baltic Sea to Constantinople and establishing the cities of Novgorod in the north and Kyiv in the south. The Rus mixed in with the East Slavic populations and gave the resulting civilization its name, Kyivan Rus. According to the chronicles, the alleged founder of the state was a Viking named Rurik, who created a ruling dynasty that would last for hundreds of years. But the story of the founding of Kyivan Rus is fraught with controversy. According to the Russian primary chronicle, compiled by medieval monks and comprising one of our main sources for understanding this period, the region's East Slavic tribes asked the Rus to rule over them and to bring them order. This story gave rise to the so-called Normanist controversy, which claims that the earliest Russian civilization developed under Scandinavian influence, meaning that Russia's roots, as the chronicles allegedly demonstrate, were in Europe. But can the chronicles be trusted? Are they a reliable historical source? These were the questions asked by Soviet historians and later by some Russian and Ukrainian historians. Such historians further claim that Western influence on Kyivan Rus was minimal, that the East Slavs were always the largest element, and that they quickly absorbed the Scandinavians and appropriated their name, Rus. So why do the origins of Kyivan Rus concern us today? What's at stake as a political claim to the Kyivan state? Russian imperial ideology sees Ukraine, or at least most of it, as an indivisible part of a larger Russian world. According to Russian imperial ideology, Kyiv is in fact the cradle of Russian civilization. A Ukrainian claim to the political legacy of Kyivan Rus is similarly rooted in the region's complicated history. Even if Ukraine has been an independent state only since 1991, its capital is the ancient city of Kyiv. The modern state of Ukraine claims that it, far more directly than Russia, is a direct descendant of Kyivan Rus. But given the unreliability of historical sources and the fog of nationalist propaganda, what do we know for certain about the origins of Kyivan Rus? We know that in the 9th century Vikings, or Normans, arrived to the areas inhabited by East Slavic tribes. We know that the dynasty established in Kyiv was founded by Normans, and we know that the Normans dominated the state for several generations. And while we don't know if Rurik was a real person, we do know that the word Rus came from the Vikings. Finally, we know that the peoples inhabiting the regions were a mixture of Scandinavians, Slavs, Finns, and others, with East Slavic being the dominant language. Kyivan Rus may have started as a Viking polity, but it developed into a Slavic and Orthodox civilization. Beyond these central facts, what we have today are claims and counterclaims to heritage and legitimacy. But the political stakes for both Russia and Ukraine could hardly be higher.